Hey everyone, Jason here, and welcome to the Abyssgarage. And today work is continuing on my dad's 1980 FLHS Harley-Davidson. Now, last time on this bike, I was able to take care of the paint job and pretty much knock it out of the park with some aerosol cans. So now that this frame is painted and looking good, we're going to start the reassembly process on the bike itself. So let's get started. All right, so there's a few things that need attention before I can just reassemble this bike itself. And one of them is the brakes. And we are running a PM four piston caliper setup front and rear. We are running 10-inch rotors. These rotors, especially this front one, they've seen better days. And I can't just reassemble, put this bike back together with these rotors on there. So if it was an 11.5-inch rotor, I have quite a few hanging on the wall there that I could just go grab. However, like I said, with these being 10-inch, I had to stop at my local honey hole, if you'll say, and go rummage through some bins of rotors, and I was able to get a brand new, never used front rotor out of the box. So I save a couple dollars there. I got SBS pads front and rear, matching set we're going to be putting on this as well. So I'll take care of this. If you guys watched last year when I was trying to figure out why the bike was handling so bad, I did front wheel bearings. So that's done. I have steering stem bearings, so we're going to take the steering stem bearings apart or off as well. Get a new set greased up, packed full of grease and back on it before we put the front end back together. And I also have a Swingarm rebuild kit, so we're going to throw a fresh set of bearings in there. So I want to make sure that when this bike goes back together, that all that stuff is fresh and ready to go. It's just something that's it should get done regardless. If you're taking a bike down to the frame and putting it back together, it's just ease of mind. So with that being said, let's get this front end tore apart here. right, so I gotta say, I haven't actually taken apart or taken the bearings out of a Shovelhead swing arm before, but that was actually extremely simple to do. It took very little time. So I have a rebuild kit here. So I'm using a V-Twin manufacturing rebuild kit. So it comes with the races, bearings, seals, and I had to get a different axle. The axle was actually missing out of the package. So my local shop had a brand new chrome one. I didn't want to reuse the existing swing arm bolt just for the fact of like it may be slightly out of tolerance, if you'll say. So I don't want to put brand new components like wheel bearing or bearings, I should say, in with a used part. So it seemed a little silly. It is money, extra money, but again, the peace of mind type thing. So compared to the front wheel, this was really simple. So I'm going to go ahead, get these bearings packed full of grease, get new races installed, get this thing back together here. So she is back as a roller right now. I got her parked outside, and now I'm paying attention to the Shovelhead engine itself. So real quick on this one, from what I know, this is original numbers matching engine. It has been taken out to 93 cubic inches. It's running a dual plug S&S head, and it's been a very reliable engine. With that being said, we have had for a little bit of time here an oil leak where the rocker box gaskets need to be replaced, as well as I've noticed the lifter block gasket itself. So we're going to tear into that. Hopefully I can figure that out without screwing it up. Honestly, transparency, would I love to see this engine get stripped down, cases split and resealed? Absolutely. but I do not have time for that. I'm under, like I said, a really big time crunch, which I'll probably explain once the bike is done, but it'll totally make sense at the end. But with that being said, I have most of the gaskets for this right now, which is wonderful. When I did get the Shovelhead, my Shovelhead project, it came with a ton of parts. One of them being is gasket kit here. So I have a nice set of James rocker box gaskets. I got the cork for the push rod tubes. I got other O-rings everywhere, which is great. I just have to order lifter block gaskets, which I will do here, but you know, it makes no sense with these types of leaks and then not doing it and then putting it back in the frame. So yeah. All right, so disassembly now is complete. We got the rocker boxes off and the lifter blocks themselves out. So I'm going to try to go over this really quickly with you guys here, not to take too long. But I got to say, I'm really surprised that this didn't leak more oil than it did. I mean, these gaskets themselves are just falling apart, super brittle. So I'm glad we're in here doing that. And, you know, what's really nice is this is all clean. It's not sludge buildup, which is nice. And so the lifter blocks themselves, the front one came out really easily, or I should say the gasket rather, just simply pulled apart or pulled off and it didn't break, which is great. However, the rear one, that was a little different story. So that broke, and it broke in the bad spot back here. So I had to use paper towels, obviously, just to be careful. And I don't want any dirt and debris getting into the cam chest area. I don't want to ruin the cam or anything like that. So I was originally using a non-marring door panel removal tool to try and be careful on the aluminum. However, that wasn't working that great. So being really cautious, I was using a flat blade razor and just making sure that I didn't score the aluminum, and then simply just was pulling up the gasket layer little by little, and then simply tipping the razor itself up to get out of the way of the cam area itself, and I want to steer clear of the oil passageway. So wanted to make sure everything was clear. We're going to get the rocker boxes into the parts washer tank, get that cleaned up. Also, I went ahead and bagged everything. So I marked the rear, all the push rods themselves have their own bag, so that way I know which one goes where when it comes to reassembly. We'll get the lifter blocks in bags itself. So this part is pretty much done. Like I said, mine is cleaning up the head itself, but we'll get this reassembled, and which is a really good feeling. So that way I can get that engine back into that bike. Well, tonight was not a successful night in the garage, if you'll say, and I ran into some issues, and I figured I'd take a second and then explain them to you guys, because you may find it interesting. The last clip I had set up on a time lapse, and I was installing the inner primary. Now, to install that, you got to leave the engine and trans loose. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Make the assumption that you guys know that, so that everything lines up properly and you can tighten it up in unison and you're not stripping things. What's interesting is the bottom bolt hole stripped, and I kind of should have known that something was up, because I think in the first clip of the bike itself, when I was tearing it down and going over it, actually showing the crack in the frame, you could see the bolt had backed out and was in where the drain plug would be. Now, being it's a dry clutch, you don't need a drain plug. So I kind of was wondering why that was there in the first place when I took it apart, and now that makes sense. So I'm going to have to get out the wallet. I'm going to have to order a time cert kit, because I do not want to helicoil this. To me, in my opinion, time cert is a far superior repair, and just something that I'd want to have on my own bike if I had to repair some threads. So, you know what, with that being said, I gotta say, you know, not everything goes to plan. Not everything can be smooth sailing, so it's just part of life. So we're gonna dust ourselves off and pick up and keep moving along. But, you know, it is what it is.